Mark Martin. For decades, he was a driver that NASCAR fans and racers alike couldn't ignore. Precision, dedication, and an unrelenting drive defined his career. Despite being one of the most talented drivers to ever grace the track, he retired without a Cup Series championship. So, how did a driver of his skill fall short of NASCAR's ultimate prize? Mark Anthony Martin was born in Batesville, Arkansas, in 1959, and by the age of 15, he was already dominating local dirt tracks. It was clear from the beginning that he was no ordinary talent. Young Mark quickly transitioned to asphalt, racing in the American Speed Association ASA series. In ASA, he went head-to-head with legendary names like Rusty Wallace and Dick Trickle, proving that he had the skill, focus, and sheer grit to compete with the best. 4 ASA championships later, Mark Martin was ready for the big leagues. In 1981, Mark made his NASCAR Cup Series debut. But success didn't come easy. In those early years, Mark faced one setback after another. Sponsorships were hard to come by, and the small teams he joined struggled to keep up with NASCAR's giants. After a brief run, Mark found himself back in the ASA before finally getting his big break in 1988 with Jack Roush. Roush Racing marked a turning point in Mark's career. Jack Roush, known for his innovative approach and attention to detail, saw potential in Mark Martin that few others had. Together, they built a team from the ground up, turning it into one of the most respected organizations in NASCAR. With Roush, Mark Martin would go on to achieve some of his greatest accomplishments. 1989 was the year everything clicked. Driving the number 6 Ford, Mark Martin got his first win at Rockingham and finished the season third in the points standings. This wasn't just a victory, it was a statement. Mark Martin had arrived, and he was here to contend for championships. The following year, in 1990, Mark and Roush Racing came painfully close to that elusive championship. With 4 wins and consistent top finishes, he found himself in a heated battle with Dale Earnhardt Sr., a name synonymous with NASCAR domination. But a 46-point penalty for an illegal carburetor spacer, a penalty that remains controversial to this day, proved costly. In the end, he lost the championship by just 26 points. It was a bitter pill to swallow, but it wouldn't be the last time Mark Martin would come heartbreakingly close. Throughout the 90s, Mark Martin became known for his consistency and professionalism. He was the kind of driver who could be counted on to finish races, avoid reckless moves, and give his all week in and week out. Season after season, Mark was a force in the points standings, but for all his consistency, luck seemed to always be against him. One of his finest seasons came in 1998. That year, he notched 7 wins, an impressive feat in any era. But once again, fate and Jeff Gordon had other plans. Gordon's season was one for the record books. He won 13 races that year, essentially shutting the door on anyone else's championship hopes. Mark finished second, adding yet another near miss to his list of close calls. The 2002 season brought another chance, as Martin ended up in a tight points battle with Tony Stewart. But mechanical failures and plain bad luck in crucial races dashed his title hopes once again. Finishing second in points became an all-too-familiar position for Mark, but he took it in stride, never letting his frustrations show. For Mark, racing wasn't just about winning championships. It was about respect, dedication, and doing the best he could with every opportunity. In a sport known for fierce rivalries and sometimes heated altercations, Mark Martin stood out as a class act. He was known for his respect toward other drivers, his clean racing style, and his unwavering commitment to the sport. Fans loved him not just for his skill on the track, but for his humility and sportsmanship off it. He didn't play dirty, He didn't make enemies. He was simply there to race, and he did it as cleanly and consistently as anyone in the sport's history. In an interview, Jeff Gordon once said, "Mark Martin was the guy we all respected. If you beat Mark, you knew you'd earned it." Praise from competitors like Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Sr. underscored the respect Mark commanded among NASCAR's elite. This respect extended beyond drivers, too. NASCAR fans, regardless of team loyalty, often admired Mark for his integrity, a quality that's all too rare in high-stakes professional sports. As the years went by, it became clear that a championship might remain just out of reach. But Mark's career was anything but a disappointment. In fact, some of his best moments came later in his career. When he joined Hendrick Motorsports in 2009 at the age of 50, many thought he was past his prime. But Mark proved them wrong, putting together an impressive season that saw him claim 5 wins and finish second in the points standings yet again, this time to Jimmy Johnson. At 50, he was still chasing his dream, still competing at the highest level against drivers half his age. His 2009 season was remarkable, not only because of his age, but because it demonstrated that Mark Martin's talent was timeless. But yet again, he finished runner-up. It was his 5th time as the bridesmaid, and never the bride, a record for second-place finishes in the championship standings. For any other driver, coming so close so often might have been a source of regret. But for Mark, it was just part of the journey. Mark Martin's career may not have included a Cup Series championship, but his legacy is beyond debate. With 40 Cup Series wins, 56 Xfinity Series wins, and countless awards, he's one of the most accomplished drivers in NASCAR history. In many ways, his lack of a championship only adds to his mystique. Fans know that Mark was more than just points and trophies. He was a symbol of dedication and resilience, someone who raced for the love of the sport and gave his all every time he was on the track. His contributions to the sport extended beyond his own driving career, too. Mark mentored young drivers, offering advice and support to those just starting out. Many of today's top drivers credit Mark Martin with helping them develop their skills and mindset. His impact on the sport is felt not only through his own achievements, but through the countless drivers he influenced along the way. In NASCAR, championships are the ultimate goal, the mark of a truly great career. And yet, Mark Martin's legacy proves that greatness isn't always measured by titles alone. Despite never winning a Cup Series championship, he's remembered as one of the sport's true legends. The numbers don't lie: 40 Cup Series wins, over 450 top 10 finishes, and 5 runner-up finishes in the championship standings. Few drivers can match those stats, title or no title. Mark Martin's career is a testament to the idea that winning isn't everything. He showed us that sometimes the journey is just as important as the destination. He didn't need a championship to validate his career. His skill, consistency, and character speak for themselves. Today, fans and fellow drivers look back on his career with admiration, not pity, because Mark Martin's story is one of perseverance, respect, and the undying pursuit of excellence. So, is Mark Martin the best driver to never win a championship? To many, the answer is a resounding yes, but in the end, perhaps it doesn't even matter. Mark Martin raced on his own terms, stayed true to himself, and earned a legacy that goes beyond championships. And that's something no title can ever measure. Mark Martin's career may have ended without the coveted championship trophy, but his impact on NASCAR is undeniable. He showed the world that racing is about more than just winning. It's about integrity, passion, and resilience. As fans, we remember the battles, the close calls, and the legacy he left behind. Mark Martin may have been the best driver to never win a championship, But to the NASCAR community, he'll always be a champion.